My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, but also getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. You can find the link to our playlists in the show notes. Welcome to episode 75. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guests today are Tropical Fuckstorm. The Australian rock supergroup is releasing their third studio record today, entitled Deep States. In today's episode, we're talking with singer Gareth Liddiard about anarchy within popular music, the pandemic's effect on the Australian music scene, and being called out on their lyrics. Here we go. Our guest today is the frontman for one of Australia's greatest supergroups. The band, comprising of members from The Drones, High Tension and Palm Springs, are releasing their fantastic third record today, entitled Deep States. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours from Tropical Fuckstorm, Gareth Liddiard. Hello.
Hey, how you going, man?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Just bored, lockdown bored. Yeah.
You are currently in the midst of a lockdown at the moment. How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's annoying because we're meant to be mixing. I should be in Melbourne mixing an album we made with Springtime with Jim White and Chris Abrahams. But we can't get down to Melbourne, so yeah, stuck here. Yeah,
that's very frustrating indeed. I know that. Congratulations on Deep States, the new record. It is coming out this week. It is out this week.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
I know that previously, well, just while we're kind of talking about lockdown, is that the previous lockdown, the big one from last year, kind of, I guess, didn't influence this album, but you found it wasn't really a good environment for creating music and being creative.
No, not at all. I mean, singing is like, I don't know, laughing or crying, or otherwise you're faking it, you know what I mean? Like, so everything was just, we were in the doldrums, and then we were lumped with a huge amount of work, which was just rescheduling 3 European tours, 2 American tours and an Australian tour, which, is an ongoing thing, just reschedule, postpone, reschedule. Yeah, so it's been not the most, it hasn't been, well, the first half of the whole lockdown wasn't conducive to rocking out, you know what I mean? It was just a drag. Yeah.
That's very fair. How did you find a lot of the people that we've spoken to, like a lot of musicians, were in a similar kind of boat where it was like, I guess for a period of time had the mentality of like, what is the point in creating at this moment? Because there are much larger things at play. How did you kind of find your way out of that to this new album?
I don't know. It's all a big blur. It's just a big smudge. I mean, and it's, that's not exactly a very original thing to say. I mean, everyone else had the same thing. So I guess a necessity, really. After about 6 months of, drinking beer and watching Netflix, felt like we had to do something. Sooner or later there was going to be a change. I don't know if there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but, we were going to have to fucking pull our finger out and do something sometime. So, yeah. And then, the lockdown eased. Then we started prepping for recording, and then the lockdown came back, and it meant we couldn't get together in the same room. And, it's just endless stuff like that. So it's really hard. You kind of got to get a flow. And if it keeps getting interrupted, it would be the same as if you're training for some sort of athletic thing. You've got to train in one big block. You got to get your muscles in order. So every time we had to lock down, it was the drag. We sort of just lost the momentum. Yeah. Mm.
That's very fair. I can understand it would be quite frustrating having that passion or that drive kind of come back and then having to just like shut it down again.
Yeah, it's just a drag. And then, everyone's going through the same thing. And then, in our world, we've got, agents in Australia and Europe and America and then publicists and record companies and, they're doing the same thing. So we have to deal with them and they're, especially the booking agents, they're not seeing any money because you actually have to play a show for them to get their cut.
Yeah.
And they're doing all this rescheduling and not getting paid. So it's just, it's been hard work, but it's been hard work for everybody.
Yeah, it is. Not the world's greatest time, but I think, what was it? I was reading a quote from yourself that out of all the kind of apocalypses that we could have, the pandemic is actually quite boring.
Yeah, it's really boring. I don't know. I was expecting something more like World War III or The Road, that Cormac McCarthy film. Yeah. Something more exciting, something more engaging. The way, depression is such a first world thing because it's hard to get depressed when you're in survival mode because you just don't have the luxury. I was hoping for something that did that. When you're really busy at work and you don't get to think about how tired you are or how fucked everything is. Yeah, I was hoping for at least an apocalypse that was distracting.
What is it? The fight or flight kind of mechanism.
Yeah. And it's just, everyone's had the same thing where it's just this fucking, what were you doing in July last year? It's like, I don't know. It's just been a smudge, a big smudge.
Yeah.
And that could be, I've got teetotaler friends who have exactly the same psychological analysis of it all. You could be in a fucking drug haze or you could be down at the gym, but time just seemed to fall to pieces.
Yeah, 100%. Let's chat about the album. We'll get the pandemic out of the way. That's done. Deep States. It is the new record from you guys from Tropical Fuckstorm, and it is it's a gorgeous, I want to say cacophony of genres because I feel like it's not easy to kind of place. It's not easy to put in a box, which I think is a good thing. I think that's what you guys have always kind of been known for, and not being able to be classified as one thing. Did the songwriting this time around, as you said before, that you kind of were in the midst of recording and then had to stop and then stop, start, did it change your approach to songwriting this time around?
Well, it just slowed it down. It's hard enough getting motivated, but I guess once the wheels started turning, it's, the main thing is that you have to do it. You need songs. You don't have any. And then, by the end, we did get a good run in where we were all up here a lot in the same room. And that's the main thing for this band is, some people, we talk a lot and then someone will say some hilarious zinger and we'll go, we'll write that down and that'll go into a line or something. And, or someone will come up with something, almost deliberately, and I'm just always there taking notes. And then, I mean, that's just the lyric side of things. The other side of things is we'll obviously get together, we play together, but then we sort of just make this huge garbage dump of stuff that we then sift through. And, it's like it is with the software and stuff these days. It's like, if you want it to be, it can be like making a film. And we like to use that approach. But everyone will be in the room. In this room here, like, there's like a kitchen up the back. Usually all this stuff here is all full of equipment and microphones and shit. So everyone's always doing stuff and putting their input in, whether someone might be cooking or, someone's laying on the couch reading a magazine. But we're always listening to what we're doing, and someone was like, what was that? What was that? Stick that there. Put that on top of that. Blah, blah, blah. And then, so it's really collaborative in that sense. And if we're not in the same room, it just doesn't have the same sort of, I don't know. What you make should be a force of nature. Singing should be something that happens. Yeah, it's like flamenco or something where, you can't sort of do it if you're not all in the same room together. It just, you could make something that seems like it, like this weird Xerox of flamenco, but it wouldn't have the zing that you need, Yeah.
I can very much appreciate that. I think it from heaps of the people we spoke to, that there's Zoom and other things became the norm, but there's not, like, the chemistry is not the same if you're not in that same room, and being able to kind of like react in real time and do all that. Yeah. You need to be together, otherwise. Yeah, but I mean, we finally got it together in the end, and here we are. Of course, well, that's how we got this album. Yeah. You were quoted as saying that Tropical Fuckstorm make pop music that doesn't deny that we're in some trouble here.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, for you when you're writing lyrics, what's that balance between like calling it out and the facts and acknowledging that we are in some trouble, and not completely losing yourself in the shit that we are in?
Yeah, you got to, I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing as far as music goes. You could be doing the most obtuse, abstract, avant-garde, I don't know, classical music, or you could be G.G. Allen and the Murder Junkies, or you could be Black Flag, or you could be fucking Van Halen. It's all entertainment, If it wasn't entertainment, no one would bother putting themselves through listening to it. So I mean, if you're talking about shit with the drag, you got to put some pepper in the sauce, or you got to make it palatable. So something like, there's that song Bummer Sanger. It was just like, it would be really boring to write a song about the pandemic because everybody in the world has been through it. But at the same time, if you didn't acknowledge that it existed, it would just be weird. It would, Imagine making an album in a pandemic and not tipping your hat to that pandemic. So with Bummer Saying, we had to figure out a way to acknowledge its existence, but then not make it this tedious, boring thing. So then we had to come up with a silly, sort of convoluted thing where it's, you can't travel interstate, you can't travel overseas. But then a travel bureau commercial comes on saying that you can travel intergalactic. There's no laws against that. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just, I hate music that doesn't, and that rock music, especially white rock music, it doesn't ever talk about just what's happening. They just seem to default to all the old tropes, and
This summer, Instacart presents famous summer flavors coming to your front door. Or pool. Or hotel.
Your grocery delivery has arrived, sir.
That was faster than room service.
No violins in the lobby.
Oh, seriously? Anyway, sit back, relax, and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Starring your favorite snacks, drinks, and more. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Rated H for hungry audiences. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
All the kind of just stupid fucking prefab little things like, the classic girls, trains, urban, I don't know, just fucking boring shit. Or if they're doing punk rock, they, smash the state or some just fucking cliched stuff. So, and we're trying to avoid that. We're trying to talk about, and it's fun you could talk about the daggiest shit like Twitter or something and put it in a song. How are you going to make that sound remotely cool, But then, I don't know, Wu-Tang Clan are really good at it. Like they're talking about, commission flats and, shit that's pretty fucking shit. Just crap. It wasn't, it's not a romantic scene. But they've managed to make it like that, They did. There's just a way to do it and a way not to.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of almost kind of not falling out, but it is becoming less. It's still there and it's still going to be there. Like as you said, the themes of like girls, bourbon, trains, cars, whatever. But I feel like that is kind of falling out because people, especially in the last number of years, even 2019, but like pre-pandemic, are kind of wanting to talk about more serious things and not, we don't need another song about a car or things.
There's plenty to talk about. Yeah, and it's not new. I mean, from suicide to suburban lawns to, there's been some mad songwriting about the most strange, unlikely stuff. It's really good, Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk about the lead single, the first single from the album, Gaff, or Give a Fuck Fatigue. Where did this kind of catalyst for the song come from? Yeah.
Well, I think at first it was just like a drum machine loop that we messed up and messed with and kind of turned it into something it wasn't. And then obviously you're going to need words and, something to, breathe life into it. And, I think it was probably something we were having a conversation and someone in the band said, give a fuck. I was like, then we were talking about fatigue. There's all sorts of fatigue. And, so it was give a fuck fatigue. And it's I don't know, it's a good sort of engine for a song because it's like, I can't remember, some philosopher said, where there's a taboo, there's a problem, and where you're not allowed to, like if you're sitting around with a climate change denier, everyone has been through this with some relative where you can't. You just don't feel like you can go, you know what? The science is there. You're a fucking idiot. Just deal with it. You kind of do that thing where you go, okay, and you just try and change the topic kind of thing. Like, it's a taboo to say, actually, it's a taboo to that climate change, to say, actually, you're full of shit. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
You're not qualified to talk about this stuff. You don't have a PhD in climatology or any shit like that. Like, anyway, so and there's taboos all over the place now. There's just so many fucking taboos. And everybody, left, right, wherever. And if you say, I don't fucking care, or if you cross that taboo and speak your mind, which generally is like, you know what, I don't fucking care. I'm not qualified. I don't have an opinion on everything that ever happened and will happen. Everyone's feeling it. Give a fuck fatigue. Everyone's feeling it. So we thought that would be a good idea for a song, say something that everyone's thinking, but they're kind of scared to admit in public because you'd get shouted down. You'd be told you're evil, you're a fucking blasphemer, you're a heretic, you're a abuser or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Have you guys, because it is almost like even raising the point, I imagine, has there been any, not backlash, but has there been any people calling you out on it or saying this is no?
Not really. People, I mean, a lot of people have said it's great as far as, I mean, I'm not saying we're great or anything, but they said it's good because that's something I would have liked to have said.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't really call us out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're not, we're not cunts anyway, so it's not like we're saying a bunch of shit that needs to be called out. But I don't know. I liken us to someone like the comedian Bill Burr, who it'd be hard to call out, and he can say fucking some naff shit. But I think because he just doesn't feed into it, it's like, fuck you, go on, call me out. I don't actually care. It's like when you ignore a bully and they realise if they're going to get their jollies, they need to go somewhere else because you're not giving them what they want. You're not frightened of them or playing the game. But if we were prepared to kind of be bullied, I think we would be bullied. But we're not. Like, I don't care. We're not doing anything wrong.
In the loveliest sense, the impression that I get from you is that you'd be more than happy to be called out in a good way, as in, like, as you said, you don't care. It is what it is.
I don't. I mean, there's such a quasi-religious side to all of this. Twitter's sort of, that sort of what the culture that Twitter's created, which is sort of got into the real world as well, where it's this sort of, Twitter is a platform where you have to have an opinion on absolutely everything, and it has to be strong, and it has to be right, whatever that is. Like, and if you don't have an opinion, if you don't have an opinion, it's like you don't even exist. Like, you don't need to have an opinion. You don't need to be an expert on everything because you're not, and you're not qualified. Stay in your lane. Just do the right thing by everyone. And,
exactly.
You don't need all this. Yeah, and it's like this quasi-religious thing, and it reminds me. My interest in it is that it reminds me of like communism and Nazism in the 20th century, where, for all sorts of reasons, mainly like industrial reasons, old school religion lost its appeal or its use. But then with like communism, you got the religion of the working class, and then Nazism is the religion of just white supremacy, really. Like, but they all had their, they had their heretics, and they had their blasphemies, and they had their taboos, and they had, ideology and dogma. And if you fucked with them, if you blasphemed, you'd be burned at the stake, so to speak. Like,
yeah.
And I think, the internet given us that, and in the most extreme forms, it's something like QAnon, and where you don't even need, all you need is faith. You don't even need evidence, and then if somebody contradicts your ideology, maybe throws a bit of reality in there, you don't take any heed of it, and you burn them at the stake. It's just, so I find it fascinating.
It is something very interesting to watch, but as you said, that it has started to like spill out into the real world, which makes it a little bit more still interesting to watch, but it is slightly more dire when it's in real life. Yeah. The record you are taking out on the road, or hopefully, again, I know that you're currently in lockdown in Melbourne. We've gone into a lockdown in Adelaide today, but are you looking forward to getting back onto the road and playing some gigs?
Anything to get out of the house. Yeah. It's just been Groundhog Day forever. But yeah, and really need to. I mean, the great thing about gigs is, you know, apart from all the obvious shit, is they keep you. Well, you got to exercise because you got to train for the gig. If you don't, you're just going to die or you're going to suck. So I'm looking forward to having that rocket up my ass.
Yeah.
You know, because just sitting around the house with no reason to do anything, it's a downward spiral. If you're not looking after yourself, you tend to get a bit glum and you tend to, you know, overthink shit. So I'm looking forward to getting out, getting fit, meeting people, saying hi, just all the usual stuff. Just the most normal stuff in the world. Yeah.
Do you think that the Australian government has kind of let down the industry in terms of gigs being canned, you know, left, right and centre, and then perpetually being put back, whereas sport apparently continues to be okay?
Yeah, but then that's Australia, isn't it? You know, I don't see. Yeah. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. I mean, you do have to lock down because only an idiot would think that you don't, where, oh, no, just let it go. Because it's like, if you just let it go in 3 weeks, you know, every fucking doctor in town would be sick too and the hospitals would be overwhelmed and all that shit. But, yeah, I don't know. Sporting events, the difference between a sporting event and a gig is it's fucking the crowd at a sporting event isn't this hot, sweaty thing jumping all over each other. So it is a bit different. I don't know. Again, I'm not qualified to talk. I'll leave that to the health authorities. I do think, you know, the federal government are a bunch of dickheads just pretending not to be in charge, you know, just so they don't lose any votes, so they don't piss anyone off. It's pretty pathetic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of vibe that they seem to be doing, is that if they're not making the decisions, then they can't be held accountable later. Yeah. Gaz, what are you currently listening to? We usually chat to our guests about what they've got on their record player or what's getting played at their house. What's currently on rotation?
As far as the new stuff goes, Terza, do you know Terza? English singer.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Her name is Tirzah. She usually collaborates with Mika Levy, who is she's been in a bunch of bands, and she made the music for that Scarlett Johansson film, the Under the Skin, the really scary, weird alien film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they collaborate, and then it's really good shit. It's really cool. It's kind of like Cat Power crossed with Rihanna or something. If you were going to be really simple, overly simple about it.
Right.
It's really good.
That sounds. That sounds very cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. But I don't know. Whenever I get asked this question, I always forget. What else? Not much. I've actually been recording heaps, and so I haven't listened to a great deal of music. Just finished the TFS thing, and then made a record with Jim and Chris in springtime, and then just been banging away. Starting to do more stuff now. It's been endless.
That's very exciting.
So literally haven't. Yeah, I haven't had time. Or when you're overdoing it with music, the last thing you want to do is listen to music. You know, you just want to read a book or something. You know?
That is very, very fair. I was going to ask, and it might have already answered the question somewhat, but like when you are recording, do you try and actively not listen to other bands or other music? Because there's what song is it? New Romeo Agent on the record, which is like almost kind of like new wavy. Do you think do you find that if you're listening to music, it does influence what you guys will do? Not obviously in a direct, let's play a new wave song, but that it might have just little like influences?
It's the weird thing with that is that the opposite would be true. I think if you were to listen to something while you're recording, for some reason you wouldn't then mind that particular genre or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I don't know, you'd probably consciously avoid doing that. But then it's the millions of other things that you've heard over the years that tend to pop up the way you would think what you're currently listening would make you come up with. So, yeah. I mean, that particular song, New Romeo Agent, yeah, it's got sort of like a new wavy thing and then almost like an Ethiopic keyboard line. And, yeah. So, obviously, we've listened to a bunch of new wave and Ethiopic records, so, but not that week. We didn't do it that week. Yeah, otherwise, it wouldn't have sounded like that. Yeah.
No, well, as I mentioned before, the record is gorgeous. It is this beautiful, like, cacophony is the best word I've got of like different genres. And again, I don't think in the hands of some other people might not work as well, but in the trusty hands of yourself and the rest of the band, it has come out as a great record.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks, man. That's really nice.
No, of course. Congratulations on the album. It is out this week. And thank you very much for being on the podcast, Gaz. We do appreciate it.
Oh, no worries. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to Gareth for his time. Deep States is out now, and we've left links in the show notes if you'd like to buy the record or tickets to their tour. We also want to give a huge shout out to Stacey at Daydream Nation for helping out with today's interview. You can find a link to our Spotify playlist in the show notes, where you'll be able to listen to all of our guests' picks. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Thursday and Friday morning, with guest playlists streaming on Spotify at the same time. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.
If there's one thing that my family and friends know me for, it's being an amazing gift giver. I owe it all to Celebrations Passport from 1-800-Flowers.com, my one-stop shopping site that has amazing gifts for every occasion. With Celebrations Passport, I get free shipping on thousands of amazing gifts. And the more gifts I give, the more perks and rewards I earn. To learn more and take your gift giving to the next level, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.